Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my video on the very popular, very kind of stupid, no offense, but kind of stupid theory that Jadis is going to take the role of Alpha from the comics. Now, for those of you that don't know, Alpha is a character that is introduced after All Out War. So, going by the show's timeline, it's going to be in Season 9. It's probably early on, I'd say definitely in the first half we'll meet her. She's the leader of this group called the Whisperers. Basically, these people act like animals and they wear the skin of walkers and they whisper to each other so the walkers don't notice them, and they rape women and kill people, and it's like a tribal like pack of wolves almost type thing, and they're very savage, and there's a lot of them, and they know how to maneuver thousands and thousands of walkers to their disposal. So they're very dangerous, big bad. Just all of them are kind of a big bad, and Alpha's the leader. And she's this bald woman who has this 15-year-old daughter that gets raped on a regularly basis, and she pretends to be this very dark, emotionless person, but there's a few moments in the comics where she actually wants her daughter to get away from it all, and where she had just done everything to keep her alive, and it had just gotten out of hand because technically maybe she thought that maybe her daughter was still safe in a way. It's really messed up, but she's an interesting bad guy. Alpha's interesting, and a lot of people think that Jadis is going to become Alpha, that maybe Jadis shaves her head and becomes the leader of the Whisperers, because Season 9 will be years after Season 8. A New Beginning, which is right after All Out War, it's years later. Alpha and the Whisperers are introduced years after All Out War has ended. And they're going to do the same thing in the show. I can almost guarantee it. So, a lot of people think that it's possible that Jadis survives Season 8, she goes off on her own, shaves her head, meets all these people that wear masks, and then she just creates this army, and that's the Whisperers, and she's Alpha. For me, I just think it's dumb. I think it's a lot of Walking Dead fans, not all of them, but a lot of them, maybe not a lot, like a good amount, they do this thing, and they've done it for years, where they will just see anyone, any character, any person in the show, and they say, oh, this character might become this future character in the comics that hasn't been introduced yet, that their part of the story hasn't started yet because they haven't gotten to that part of the comics, and they're a different name and they look different, but that could totally be the same character. And I remember in Season 5 there's like some prisoner guy with a gigantic beard, and people thought that was Negan way before Negan was supposed to be introduced. If they go by the comics, they have always gone by the comics. They usually don't introduce characters until they are supposed to be introduced in the comics. You can almost kind of go by the volumes. The volumes are what, 6 issues? 12 issues? I think there's 6. And they usually try to do like a couple, 2 or 3 volumes each season. And Negan's introduction was way far ahead. People were still like, oh, that guy with the beard with the tattoos, that's totally Negan. And then there'd be like a car in the background, and people would be like, oh, that's Negan. Then there'd be a random bat lying around. They're like, oh, that's Negan's bat. And they were just in a very obnoxious rush for Negan to be in the show. That was something I really had an issue with. I feel like the fans pressured the writers into rushing Negan's introduction. I kind of think Negan should have been saved for, I mean, maybe a few episodes into Season 7. You could have developed Abraham more. You could have fleshed out the whole thing with Rick not listening to anyone, and I think it might have been better. It wouldn't have been the finale, and it wouldn't have been the premiere, but timing-wise and story progression-wise, I think that might have worked. Especially because what they did with Negan was just a flop. him having the beard and them doing the cliffhanger, but that's kind of off topic. Like I said, I think the fans rushed Negan in because the fans are always in a rush for these things. A lot of them are always in a rush for these comic characters to be introduced. Comic Negan, oh that's Negan, oh that's Negan, oh that person's Negan, and it's like, fuck off, he's not supposed to be introduced yet. Let them do it the way the comics do it, and they're doing the same thing with Alpha. I've seen so many people in YouTube comments, and it just makes me want to scream. They say, oh, Madison from Fear the Walking Dead is Alpha. Or, you know, Carol is Alpha. Carol? No! And now they're saying Jadis is Alpha, and it's just, no. I think it kind of started with Trev Shin, too. Just so you guys know, I'm not against him. I don't hate him. He's okay, but some of his fans are dumb as fuck. A lot of the people from that community, from his YouTube comments, are like, oh, this Carol's Alpha, oh, Daryl's going to become Negan. It's just like, no, these are established characters that have established stories, and they have a different name, and they look different, and their characteristics are different, and that comic character has not been introduced yet. It's not the proper time for them to be introduced. They are going to be their own character. And I'll admit, I'm a little guilty of this. For a little while, maybe a couple of years, I thought maybe Daryl would have become Dwight. Just burn the guy's face a little bit, and you got Dwight. I mean, Dwight and Rick in the comics, they were like best buds. And comic Dwight and TV Daryl are there's some similarities. And some people didn't know that Dwight was going to be his own character in the TV, I kind of feel like Dwight in the comics was inspired by Daryl. Their name's similar. They got a vest. They got a crossbow. They got long hair. They got kind of a no nonsense attitude. They kind of got a heart of gold. Just a lot of similarities. But sure enough, Dwight was Dwight and Daryl was Daryl, and that was absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So, I mean, I'm guilty of this, but I don't think Carol is Alpha. I don't think Jadis is Alpha. I can understand Jadis a little bit more, but no, I think we should let Jadis be Jadis and let Alpha be Alpha. I think in order for Alpha's character to work, it needs to be done the way it was done in the comics. It needs to be years after season 8. The Whisperers are something that we see 5 or 6 years into the apocalypse. Right now, if technically it's supposed to be like less than 2 years, maybe 2 years into the apocalypse, and we already got these trash people that talk weird and all this stuff. Just let Alpha get her natural introduction 5 or 6 years into the apocalypse. The Whisperers, 5, 6 years. We don't need some origin story. We just need to see them the way they are introduced in the comic. In the comics, we didn't see Alpha with hair. We didn't see a prequel Alpha. We didn't get Alpha in issue 100 as her own character, and then later on she's Alpha. In issue 130, and that's when I think that's around the time she gets introduced. Maybe issue 135, but they didn't do that in the comics. They introduced her when they wanted to introduce her. They didn't give her some like prequel type, cameo type, this is her before she became this. They just introduced her naturally after All Out War, during A New Beginning. And I know it's going to be a little different because Carl's dead, but I still think that they could still, the Whisperer story is one of the coolest stories in the comics, and I still think that Carl Grimes aside, they should do it very page to page, how it's done in the comics. If they just need to adapt it from the comics. Like, I want it to be very close to how everything is in the comics. They might have to change Father Gabriel's death a little bit. But you know, Negan decapitating Alpha, Beta becoming the leader, Jesus killing Beta, Jesus and Aaron killing Beta because they're both still alive in the show. So yeah, I could see them killing Beta. You know, all these things that happened in the comics, I think they would work in season 9, and I want it to be done as faithfully as possible. With Lydia can exist. Lydia can be a 15-year-old girl. Maybe she befriends Enid. Maybe you know, I don't know. I think that it should be done the way it was done on the comics, and I think that Jadis' story is coming to an end. She might make it to season 9, and who knows, maybe she does become Alpha, but I think it's unlikely. I think Jadis is Jadis and Alpha is Alpha. When are we going to meet Alpha? Season 9. That's just all there is to it. And yeah, that's pretty much what I think. If you think that Jadis is going to become Alpha, that's fine. I understand. That's just not the way I see it. I think it's two separate characters. You know, there's not really even that much of a similarity. And you know, plus I want Alpha to have like a 15-year-old daughter. Jadis is definitely not going to have that. So yeah, absolutely. And you know, unless she's on a helicopter or something, but I don't think Jadis has a daughter. So, but anyway, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't be shy, hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day. Please hit that subscribe button. Please share and support the channel in any way you're interested. We're getting to we're not almost there, but we're getting to 250 subscribers. That's my first big goal. Anyone that's interested in subscribing, please don't hesitate. Just hit that subscribe button. We're a third of the way there. We can do it, guys. We can get there. We can get there maybe in the next couple of months. Maybe the next couple of months. Let's screw it. Let's try it. Hey, I like to be optimistic. Yeah, well, I'm stupid and optimistic. There we go. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.